Hi, this is Paul on the Road, and I'm Paul. So this video is a compilation of a lot of the footage I used in my previous videos of Barrett Jackson, and I've added some footage on the end of that with the hammer price for each vehicle. Now, something you should keep in mind as you're watching this, at Barrett Jackson, there's a 10% buyer's fee and an 8% seller's fee. So Barrett is making 18% on every vehicle. But the more important piece of that is that when you're bidding on anything at an auction, you've got to keep in mind that you're going to pay 10% more than the hammer price. So I hope you enjoy it, and please hit the like and subscribe button if you do. Help me grow my channel, and I would appreciate that. Thank you very much, and enjoy the video. First one looks like a 66 Shelby Mustang, fastback probably. Oh no, it's a coupe. So one of the interesting things about this vehicle is that it was built for Ken Miles, who, if you watched the Ford versus Ferrari movie, the Ken Miles character was kind of the main character in that movie, him and Carroll Shelby. And this is a car that was built especially for him, and it's going to be auctioned at no reserve. The Ken Miles Shelby coupe sold for $700,000. A 1970 Plymouth Hemis Superbird, and the fact that it has a Hemi in it makes it extremely valuable. They put 440s in most of them, and I don't know the number. Oh, it says one of 77 built. So this car is also no reserve, but you better have deep pockets if you want to go and if you want to bid on it. But one of the interesting things I have always thought about with this car is in 1970, the dealers were having a really tough time selling this car because it was so different looking than everything else on the market. And they put the nose piece and the big wing on, but a lot of times when the dealers, would have it in their stock for months upon end, they decided that they were going to convert them back to what it was originally, which was Roadrunner. And they would take the nose off, and I think the fenders would have to come off, but they would convert it back to a Roadrunner so they could sell it. Now this was confirmed to me by somebody, a collector that I met. It had 3 of them, and one of her 3 she had bought as a Roadrunner, but the numbers indicated that it was originally built as a Superbird, and she found the parts and put it back together and made it back to what it was originally. And one of the interesting things about that was that wing, that rear wing back there. She had a really tough time finding one, and when she did, it cost her $10,000 just for the wing. The Hemi Super B sold for $550. They've even got a couple of the new 2024 GTs that are going to go up for no reserve. What fascinates me is that it's a lightweight, it's carbon fiber all over it, titanium exhaust to reduce weight, but 660 horsepower out of a 3.5 liter V6. I had a 3.5 in my first pickup that I bought to pull the trailer with. It was a half-ton, and I quickly upgraded to a 3/4 ton. But that 3.5 motor just in the truck version made a little over 300 horsepower, and that thing was fast. But the same motor basically is making 660 horsepower now. The Carbon Series Ford GT sold for $1.25 million. 1963 Buick Riviera. And one of the interesting things about this car is, well, not this car specifically, but the model, was 1963 was the first year for the Riviera, but it was not intended to be a Buick. It was originally going to be a Cadillac LaSalle. In fact, they called it the LaSalle Project when they were designing it. It also went by another name called, 715. I can't remember the letters in front of it. I'll put it on the screen. But Cadillac passed on it after the design was done, and so they put it up for bids for the other models, or the other divisions, you know, Pontiac, Buick, Chevrolet, and Buick snatched it up because they needed something to improve their flagging sales, and this is what they chose. The 63 Riviera sold for $40,000. Seems like a pretty good price for this. This one brings back a lot of memories. I had a 40 Ford Coupe, same color, black, not a convertible, and it had a Hemi in it too, just like this one does. This one has a 291 cubic inch DeSoto Hemi, and I had a 331 Chrysler Hemi in mine, and I got real good at changing the transmission in that car because it was the old Ford 3-speed top loader, and all I had to do was dump the clutch in low gear, and I'd peel off half of the low. The 40 Ford convertible with the Hemi in it went for $33,000. Very cool. 1957 Dodge Sierra wagon, and it's a two-door. I suspect that this was Dodge's answer to the Chevrolet Nomad, because the Nomad, of course, was a two-door. Let's see what it's got under the hood. Oh my.
How many of these ended up in demolition?
A Chrysler Hemi, and if it's original Chrysler Hemi, it's a 392. Air conditioning. The interior is period. I mean, tuck and roll was something that was done in the 60s a lot. That or diamond tuck. Let's see what it says here. Powered by a rebuilt custom 354. So the engine right below the 392 was the 354. But dual 4 barrels. I mean, this thing would make plenty of power to move it down the road. So far, of all the cars I've looked at, this car is the best deal. Somebody snatched this thing up for cheap. $19,000 for a two-door wagon with a 354 dual quad Hemi. I'm sure the seller is sad. And here's another car from the 50s with the hidden fuel door. This is a 57 Chevy 4-door hardtop. Used to be 4 doors were collectors would turn their noses up at them, but in the last few years 4 doors have become collectible cars too, and this is an example of one. But the hidden fuel door on this one is right here. So that 57 4-door hardtop that we looked at a couple of days ago sold for $70,000. A 1953 Kindig Barrett Jackson edition custom roadster. The body is all carbon fiber. The engine is a 427 making 682 horsepower to the rear wheels. The Kindig 53 Roadster just came back and it hammered for $520,000. '51 Chevrolet 3100. These trucks were called AD. That was the General Motors platform name for them, and the AD stood for Advanced Design. This one actually is Advanced Design. It's got a late model small block with air conditioning, and it's on a S10 chassis actually. But I mean, the detail and the work on this thing is amazing. He made a, you can see that this kind of curves to the shape of the cab. Just a very well done truck. The 51 AD or 3100, depending on how you like to refer to them, sold for $120,000. I'm real happy for the builder, because he put a lot of work into this thing. He deserves every penny he got on this truck. 1969 Mach 1 with a 428 drag pack. Rare, one of one is what they're saying here on the board. I think this is that drag pack car we looked at the other day. It sold for $100,000. This is the one that claims to be one of one. I don't see that sign out anymore. But $100,000. 1957 International Metro. Now the thing is bagged. You can see that it's literally sitting on the ground. So it has airbag suspension, so you start it up and hit a switch and bring the thing up to whatever ride height you've got. I love the patina finish. I'm a big fan of this. Very curious to see what the Metro sold for. $77,000 for the patinaed International Harvester Metro. The car looks pretty stock. It's a 409 with dual quads, 4-speed. Got Wildwood brakes, which, even though it's not stock, it's a nice upgrade, because when you got this kind of horsepower, you need to be able to stop it. And that 61 bubble top that we looked at, $82,000. There's even a 1950 Spartan Royal Mansion here that'll go across the blocks. I think 1050 lot number is probably going to go across Friday, maybe Saturday. But man, this thing is cool, way cool. Let's see if we can step inside without getting yelled at. Oh, how cool is this? Oh, it's even got a nice espresso machine. Very nice touch. And I love that vintage refrigerator. take a look at the head here. So it's a wet bath. The whole bathroom gets wet when you take a shower. And there's the drain in the floor right there. That Spartan trailer went for $57,000. Somebody's gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. They'll be the talk of the campground when they pull in. Very clean 1960 MGA. This thing has been converted. It has a later model engine in it. It has an 1800 in it instead of the 1600, or what was it originally? Yeah, it was a 1600 originally. So it has a little more power. It's very nicely done. Let's take a look at the interior. Got the racing headrest on it here. The MGA I shot the other day went for $26,000. 1969 Dodge A108 custom van. The engine is between the seats on this one. I don't know if it's going to come through. Very nicely done though. It's beautiful paint. Here's that A108 van that we looked at. Let's see what it sold for. $70,000. The Nash Rambler roll top. I would expect to see Lois Lane getting out of this thing.
Exactly, it's a Superman car.
Yep, it is. This was what Lois drove.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the color.
I want to get the
Yeah, just talking to somebody that knew the history, knew the series, the Superman series. You know, Lois drove this, and Superman. I don't know if he drove it throughout the whole series, but I know he drove a Nash Healy for a while. And hopefully, I don't know if there's any here. I haven't seen one yet, but if I do, I guarantee you I will film it. Now this is still powered by the original 6-cylinder to a 3-speed manual trans. But what a cool car this would be to have. A 1950 Nash Rambler roll top sold for $30,000. 1951 Buick Super Woody. One of the neat things about Buicks is the way you started them is you turn the key on and put the gas pedal to the floor, and there was a switch in the carburetor that engaged, and as soon as the engine started, a vacuum would pull a ball away from the and break contact and turn the starter off. So it wouldn't engage again, you know, if you stomped on it and went full throttle going down the highway, it would not re-engage the starter.
Yeah, I hear you.
One Buick Woody that we looked at the other day, just it sold for $42,000. Well, here's an example of that Silver Streak I was talking about that Frank Hershey had a hand in designing. And I read a book once where he was talking about this, and he said that the way they came up with it is in the clay shop, the clay was extruded in strips, ridged strips, just like this, and they laid it on the hood of a car and said, yeah, let's do that. Now, the early ones only had a single strip that ran down the center. This is a 56, 55, 56? 55. So I think the Silver Streak started in the 40s. I'm not 100% sure. The 1955 Pontiac Silver Streak went for $35,000. A 1967 Excalibur. This thing is on a Studebaker chassis. The tell for that is that center light. Right below it is the center link for the steering. That's something that Studebaker started using in 1951 and continued it all the way until the end of production. And only Studebaker used that. The Excalibur went for $62,000. And something I didn't mention when I showed this the first time is that it has a 300 horse 327 and a T10 4-speed in it, and it weighs nothing. So 300 horsepower in a super light car. This thing is going to be scary fast. Another one we really didn't look at before, but this is a 1950 Hudson, yes, 50 Commodore 8 convertible, sold for $45,000. This was a good buy for somebody. They were selling for that a couple of years ago, so they, I guess, have come down in value. And that is the way the car market goes. I mean, they fluctuate in price. Here's an example. That Hudson convertible went for less than this four-door Merc. It sold for $49,000. '66 Ford Mutt with an M100 trailer behind it. We actually had these in Vietnam. I worked on my share of these things. Not really much to do with the trailer other than pack the wheelbarrows once in a while. The Mutt and the trailer. Oh, the trailer's not here anymore. Wonder what happened to it. Sold for $23,000. A 1930 Nash street rod. This is pretty cool. You don't see Nashes made into street rods very often. And it's a two-door sedan. The top's been chopped quite a bit. Probably a good 4-inch chop at least. The Nash street rod. What did we get for this? $63K. As I was walking up to this, I thought it was a 53 Skylark, but it's not. It's a 53 Super. It does have Kelsey Hayes wires on it, wire wheels. Very nice car. Got the inline straight 8. That 53 Buick Special convertible sold for $42,000. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you staying to the end, and I will continue to do these videos. I'm going to continue to do RV stuff too. For those of you who think I might have abandoned the RV space, I haven't. I just haven't done any videos on it lately, but I will continue to do RV videos, but I'm going to do more car videos. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.